Good.
Come and take a journey. Come and take a step. Come and take a journey. Journey to the cross and beyond.
You'll find inspiration. Get some motivation. Reach your destination.
Journey to the cross and beyond.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Journey to the Cross and Beyond Ministries talk show, Journey Talk. I am K.O. Josh. Let me see your hand or something. This is Josh O. I'm speaking for him today. It's going to be a very interesting show today. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. Those on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We love you all. We thank God for all of you. We're always praying for you and we're always asking you for prayers. I hope you all are enjoying this Saturday evening. If you hear it's a Saturday, we don't have a sitter and we don't have our girls here today. So you're going to hear a lot of Samuel in the background, our baby. He decided to wake up just in time for the live show. So you're going to hear a lot of little noise and stuff like that. And what's funny is our guests that are coming on today for our show, for our topic today, which is should married couples share a joint bank account, right? And we're going to talk about other financial matters as well. We have awesome guests on today. But before we do that, I just want to iterate what our mission here is at the Journey to the Cross and Beyond outreach ministry is to aid, and broadcasting ministries, which is to aid new converts, prospective believers, and seasoned saints to discover, uncover, and rediscover the love of God and the life that awaits beyond initial salvation. We are here to restore hope, build faith, empower, ignite passion, unlock purpose, all that good stuff A to Z. We're here to do that. You can, on the screen, you can find out all the ways that you can follow us, support the ministry, share, like, subscribe. We are on all social media at Journey TTCB. And of course, on YouTube, we are at Journey Talk TV. Don't forget to share past episodes. It may help someone. It helps me sometimes when I go back and look and watch it. And we're just grateful to God for the platform, because we're learning together, we're journeying this walk together, we're discovering this walk together. And again, we're just grateful for the platform and grateful for all of you. We are grateful for everyone that continues to partner with us for our initiative in Edo State, Nigeria, which is starting this year in September, to take 10 kids off the street, out of poverty, put them in school. We know that education is a great way to escape poverty, connect them with a local church. And so we want to send 10 kids starting between the age of 4 and 10 to get them in school. Kids that are not in school. We know that when these kids are not in school, it's a great way for traffickers and, just predators to really take advantage of them. So we want to help those families. And so thank you to those of you that have already volunteered and also assisted us to get the legal part of what we're doing started. So I'm excited about the progress that we're making, and definitely look forward to updating you as we go on. Again, the ways that you can contribute to this initiative is down there on the screen. Cash App at JTTCB, or through our website, which is also listed down there, www.journeyttc.org. Visit our donation page. Okay, so again, as I said, we're really excited today. We have awesome guest panelists for our topic today. We have several married couples, some that are actually, there goes Sam, say hi everyone. Some that are actually live with us, and others that sent their information in or their audio in, which we'll all take a listen to. Please don't forget to join the conversation. I'm going to be looking down from time to time just to see what you guys are posting on Facebook and YouTube, and we will try to respond. I know some people are already, saying that they have stuff to say, so we'll try to get to that the best as we can with baby Sam running around, and our guests, their kids are up too. It's family life, right? And this is a live show, so we're just asking you just to bear with us today. So again, I just want to reiterate our topic today, which is, should married couples share joint bank accounts? Should they share joint finances? And joining us today, I am so excited about the couples that are live with us today. Yep, yep. And that's Sam. It's hard for me as a mom to concentrate. He's about to climb on the table, you guys. And so his daddy's gonna have to go get him. Sam, you gotta let us do the show today. We're live today, right? The day we choose to do a live show. So, yeah. So try to refocus. Kate. Come out of mom mode. And so our guests today, as we introduce them, we have the lovely Juanita and John Burgess. Giving an applause for them. I don't see John. Where's John, Juanita?
John, as you have mentioned, is rearranging the toddler's plate. Oh, there he is on cue. Yeah, we had to get our toddler nice and situated with snacks and toys. So
I totally understand. And I say to you, Juanita, congratulations on your award and nomination for 100 Influential Women of Color. Well deserved.
Thank you. Oh gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's really an awesome thing, and I think it's well deserved. Well.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your new business venture. I think you have it up there. Bigmove.com, and you'll talk some more about that as well. So welcome. We're glad to have you all to chime in on this discussion. And also we have the lovely Mouchettes, Jaleesa and Anthony Mouchette. And I see baby Maddie.
Yes. Hi.
So great to have you all. And we'll also talk to Tony a little bit about his company that has actually done a lot of work with us, from website, from, different consultation, financial stuff as well. Envision Consultants. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and we could throw that up on the scene, and we'll get back to that. And we have commentary from and we'll definitely be sure to include what they have in the conversation. So I want to throw the question right out there. I was actually at a retreat. This has stuck with me for probably about 10. And it was a retreat with women of varying ages, and many of them were married. The age range from probably like 15 to probably 70. And I remember the woman, the instructor asked the question of the ladies that were married, how many of you have a separate account or a secret account? And almost everyone in the room, almost all the women in the room raised their hand. And I remember her asking them why. And she said, because if you do, it's like you're already, especially pertaining to the secret account, she says, it's as if you're already planning for a divorce. And so that's a pretty, boom, profound statement. I want to know what you guys think about that. And with that, I want to add that research has shown, and if you do a survey amongst people that have couples that have ended in divorce, it is up there. It's number 2 or 3 on the list of reasons why couples end in divorce. It has to do with financial disagreements, financial struggles, financial mismanagement. So above that was infidelity, and after that was finances tied with lack of communication. Any of you want to jump in on the first comment about if you have a separate account, or if you have a secret account that you're trying to set yourself up for divorce? The Burgess, I'll throw it out there.
Well, from a woman's point of view, I don't agree with having a secret account. I don't have a secret account that, John does. I don't have anything that John doesn't know about. And I think, for me, it's because when I came into this marriage, for it to be the most safest place for me. And I feel as though when there's things that are kept secret like this, such as money, which is a very strong part of the marriage, if something about that strong pillar in your marriage is a secret, then that means you haven't fully given yourself to the marriage. So I guess I can kind of see why some would say you're kind of planning a divorce, or you're already planning for the marriage to fail, because you still feel that there's areas that you don't want to give to your spouse fully, that you don't want to share with your spouse fully. I think that is the word secret means I hold this from you because I don't trust you with it. And if that's a truth, I think that is worth having counseling over. Why don't I trust you with this? Why do I feel like I need to have something hidden from you? And I think when you explore and talk about that with your spouse or a therapist, then maybe you'll get to the real root of why you feel a need to keep something so important as money away from your spouse. Now, if you got an account with only $30 in it, or you got, $40 hidden in a shoe in the closet, I mean, that's not, substantial. But by the time you get an account that's a secret, I'm pretty sure there's money in there that can do something like, I don't know, move you to another state, or I don't know, maybe, feed a fetish or a habit that you don't want your spouse to know about. So I think there's a deeper root there when you feel the need to have secrecy in marriage with something that's so vital to the success of a marriage.
Absolutely, and lack of accountability. So, yeah, those pretty count. May work, but I think for me personally, it would be an. So, what do you do? Do you joint accounts, or do you have separate accounts? Because you have so many different things that you do, both business wise, a lot of different business ventures. As I said, this red lipstick here I'm wearing today is No Honey, from the No Honey makeup line, which was your makeup line. John has the radio station. He's got VAP TV, VAP radio. And you guys have a joint venture together, and separately you do ministry. Juanita, you talk about that. Ministry and business, not the same thing, right? So there's so many different facets of what you do that is going to have a lot of financial obligations, and some of it you guys came in doing before you got together. So how now do you manage finances when you have a lot of different things that you do individually, separately?
Well, I'll say, when we first got married, we had separate accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had discussed this going into marriage, whether we were going to have joint accounts. And I think Nita was always for the joint account. And we started off with separate accounts, and she would handle like her portion of the bills with that, and I would handle mine with mine. And, we did well with that. But I found that when we moved to joint accounts
Mm-hmm.
and just having that one account, of course, now we have the businesses and different things, and those have separate accounts as well. Like we have a business account and we have a joint account for us. But the joint account really works well because it forced us to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to let each other know, especially when the money got tight, and I handle the bills now, like all of them, but I had to micromanage the money with one account because, it was like, if we spent on a week when we didn't have it or something like that, if we spent $20, that could mess everything up, so it was like, all right, wait till Wednesday before you spend this 20, or, you know what I mean? Like really, but it forced us to communicate, and so that open communication and just, letting each other know where we are with our finances. Okay, we can afford to do this now, or this is a good week for us, or this is a tight week for us, slow down on the spending, or, those types of things. And so it worked well having the joint account. I think it brought us together.
And I'll add to that and just say simply the reason why it took a while for us to go from seeing separate accounts to joint, and this is what I mean by deal with what's really the root, is John hesitated to join the accounts because he was uncomfortable with the way I spent money. So John is frugal and I am a spender. And I'm not, now mind you, I'm a couponer. I will get the best deal, but honey, I'm going to get it. So, I'm going to find that coupon that says 20% off and I'm going to double it to get the 50% off. And then I'm going to add on the 5% coupon I found online. I'm very savvy, but I don't mind spending. And John does not like to spend. So it was hard for him to come together in a joint account because he's like, I don't know if I can trust you with money. And I had to come out of being offended and realize you have a point. Let me reevaluate how I spend. And so as I became more responsible and spend less and try to save more, he started to trust me more. And now we got our flow. But that played a big part. Yeah, it took a while for us to hit that stride.
That awesome. That is important. And in a little bit, we'll share a clip and have everyone comment on it about that communication piece and about realizing, because everybody's not the same. You were more of a spender. John was more thrifty, right? So you got to meet somewhere in the middle. But sometimes if you have separate accounts, it doesn't allow you to do that. So is it that you guys don't have any separate accounts other than business?
No,
everything's together.
Everything's together. And if it's not together, we don't share credit cards. So we have our own separate, but we know each other's banking information. His info is on my phone, my info is on his phone. At any point, he could look up my balance. He could look up what I spent. So there's nothing hidden. Even if there is, we have strategically decided to have certain things in our own names for the benefit of, boosting credit scores and all that stuff, but not hidden. So anything we have that's not together, it is fully disclosed and, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And Michette, Jaleesa, and Anthony, what's your take on that was asked?
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit, but the questions that were asked before, as far as the need to have a secret account, I really feel that, anything done in the dark is going to come to light, so it's like, why have this secret account that your spouse is eventually going to find out about? It's inevitable. Say the worst were to happen and you all ended up in a divorce. That account is going to show up anyhow. So what really are you hiding? Because in the worst case scenario, it's still going to be found out that you have this secret account. And so we do fully disclose to each other. We have a joint account that's for the house, and we obviously both have access to it. But then we also have individual accounts, but we have access to those accounts for each other. And the purpose of those individual accounts is just things that we don't really feel the need to come out of the house account. Or for instance, if I want to splurge on something and get something like that I wouldn't usually get, and I don't really want to pull that out of the house account money, like say I want to get him a gift and I don't want him to see it, I want to get it for him separately, and then don't worry about how much I spent on it. I took this out of the money that we allocated for me, So what we do is we have an allowance. So we know every week when the checks come in, this amount is going to savings, this amount is going to you, this amount is going to me. Do with your separate account what you wish. But if in the event that I needed to see what was in there, or if in the event that, I needed you to bring back some of that money from your account and put it towards the house bills because something unexpected came up, that can happen.
Yes. Like she said, basically with the question you asked, I don't agree with the whole secret account. Because like anything in secret will cause a problem.
Mhm.
Like, if it's a separate account, like we said before, the way we set it up is that, we have our separate accounts. And honestly, I think Kay might touch on this a little bit. It's funny because we got the advice from a pastor of ours, because before we did start with fully separate accounts, and we were allocating a percentage of the income that was coming in to the house account.
It was a mess.
And it was a mess. We would fight. There were like arguments because the math was always wrong, because, either it was a period where she was making more than me or I was making more than her. And so it didn't seem fair, because, if 30% of, or however much percent you allocate of a larger income is always going to end up being more than the other. Right. So a pastor of ours actually told us about the whole pooling method of just having your joint account, and then you have all the income from both parties coming into that joint account, and then you can allocate out from there. Right. And once we did that, like we just went for it and started it, and we saw a big change, because it was just like, okay, now we understand, okay, this is the money that's coming in. We've decided, okay, you're getting this amount for the month. You're getting this amount for the month. That's your money to do with what you want. All the bills for the household comes out of the joint account. So it's almost like and then everything just started to work out. It was like everything just fit in that in that space, versus the other way we tried it just didn't work. It just caused too many issues.
Yeah, that's interesting. It sounds like a common theme here is communication. Yeah. Talking and communicating, because you guys, even though you have separate accounts, everything comes in to one place first.
Yes.
And even though you have an account that Jaleesa may have, so she can do things that she needs to do, vice versa, you guys have decided on what it is, and then that's very important, that everybody is on the same page.
Yeah.
You did say something, Tony, that I wanted to touch on as a woman. You said that like in allocating, okay, if you want to call it a stipends for the week, something, or for the month, that you said that you believe the women should be allocated a little bit more than the man.
Well, I actually got that from...
I see men's head like, what? Why is he saying everything?
I actually got that.
John.
I actually got that quote from Steve Harvey, actually, because he actually has a whole video that he speaks on about this same thing. About his thing is every married couple should have a minimum of 4 bank accounts. You have your joint checking, which is the family account. All incomes go into that. You have your joint savings, and you should always be putting something away in that. Even if it's $5, $10, just something always has to go into that. And then he spoke about having the joint, the separate for each couple, and that's your money to do with. Now, after he explained all of that, he was like, he does believe that the wife should always get a little bit more in her allowance, because the maintenance to be a wife is a lot more. Like I can go to the barber and get my hair cut for $20, right? A female can't go to a hair salon and get her hair done for $20. It just doesn't work the same way, right? So it's as men, we look at it and we're like, okay, I know we've all gone through this where they've gone to the hair salon, they got their hair did up, and then you hear the price, and we're like,
why?
Like, it costs that much. Like, we call up our barber and we know if we went to our barber one day and he was like, this is going to cost you $150, you would be like, okay, I need a new barber, because you're trying to rob me out here, right? So I think that's what he was trying to say, is that, the maintenance to be a woman is just a lot higher. So you should get more in your allowance.
And just to add to that a little bit, the alternative would be to take the money to maintain myself from the house account, you know? And I prefer it the way we do it, where I use that money from my separate account, because then it's like, if I know that I have this giant pool of money that I can just go draw from, it's not going to take much off of me to say, oh, I want this like $200 hairstyle. I'm just going to go do it. But if I know that I'm like allocating out certain things that I'm going to take from my account, then it's like, okay, do I really need my hair done for this amount of money every 2 weeks? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it kind of puts a cap on it. So you realize that even though I have access to a lot more money, it's going to be more responsible for me to use what I've been saving, so that I'm not, you know, taking advantage of the fact that I have two incomes that I can essentially draw from.
Very good. Very good point. I want to read what Pastor Brian and Georgia Whitaker said. And they said, our perspective is that there should be a primary joint account, and we both dump everything into that. But also, each of us have secondary accounts for casual spending that are outside the main accounts. We funnel a small stipend from the joint account to the secondary personal account. That allows us to do our bills and projects on the same page without wondering how we're going to fund it. Something like what Lisa was talking about, because we can see where everything is going. My opinion would be to plan together and fund projects together, so that there's no superiority and control, because it can become a manipulative tool. And I think especially if this is me saying this, one person makes more than the other, right? They also say, then I asked the question, would the stipend that goes to the separate amount something that the couples agree on together? Is it an equal amount? And do you have to give account to your partner what you do with your allocated stipends? And they said it's something they agreed upon with it. Yes, we agreed upon what it would be for my account. This is Pastor Brian now. He said they agreed on what it would be for his account, but he said not for hers. Now, listen to this. He said, because I trust her spending habits, not mine. She's always, he says, I don't know if I should say this part. He said, she's always hiding money, but in various other accounts that I don't care to know about, but I'm aware, right? And he laughed and he says, I don't have to give account of how I spend it, but occasionally I will tell her generally how I'm spending, because I'm trying to develop, here's the word, guys, accountability for myself, right? Simply put, she's better at managing money, so I trust her. I'm better at managing projects, so I do it, and I think she trusts me. And she said, along with what Brian said, I find it beneficial for each spouse to have an allotted amount. She said like $50 or $100 for a spending account, while our bills and house projects are covered from our joint account, kind of like what Jaleesa and Tony said. So, and then we were joking around about her secret account, and you know, she said for her unforeseen situations, which was probably like a pair of shoes, right? So she'll talk about splitting and stuff like that. So this is interesting here. He said that they decide on what he's going to get. Here, his communication again. He says that he trusts her, right? He says she's more responsible. Kind of sound like what Juanita said about John. And it's so important to realize that and not be offended. Understanding as couples where our strengths lie, and you know, where one person is better at something than the other person. And I'm gonna ask Josh to speak on the two becoming one flesh in a little bit, and maybe he could talk about our situation, how we do. And then we're gonna take a listen to Pastor Tootie and then some others as well, what they say. So the accountability these things just didn't happen. I'm sure it was trial and error and a lot of communication to decide what is going to work best for us. But it sounds like when you pool money into a joint account, there's a lot more responsibility, right? There's a lot more accountability, and I think it also builds trust, and it builds just honesty. You know what everybody is doing, and if you're allocating separately, you also agree on that. Josh, I want you to talk. Can you squeeze in here? Can you get in here?
Thing,
um,
thing before.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say one other thing about the pooling amount. I don't remember who said this to me, but they were saying that with the issue with the percentage portion of doing, like separate accounts and then putting a percentage in instead of having the money pooled.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that if you have both incomes coming into one, if someone gets a raise, you don't have to worry about your percentage because then everything is already going into the one place.
Yeah.
Right? And because that's also, and I think they were also talking about like for the instance that you get like a bonus or anything from, your job or anything, then you don't have to worry about, am I just going to take this bonus and hide it away, in my separate account? You don't have to worry about it. It's already going into the one account and you funnel everything out there. So it just makes everything a lot easier to finance wise.
Absolutely. Josh, he's handling the baby right now. All right. So I'm going to read what Daryl and Adria said. They're a newlywed. Tony and Jaleesa are newlyweds as well. I think, what is it? September is going to make your second year?
July.
Ooh, July. That's quick. So Daryl and Adria, and they're pregos right now, expecting their first baby, the Smarts. They say I personally feel that it depends on the strength and weakness of each partner when it comes to finances and or the level of, here's that word again, accountability and trust in the marriage. Joint finances have proven to be successful both ways. There are many conditions that allow for each scenario to work. Okay, so they are for joint finances as well. It builds accountability. It builds trust. That's from another couple, and that's a newlywed, and they found their way around the financial issues that come up as well. Josh, you ready?
Yeah.
Or should we go to Pastor Judy? All right, guys, take a listen. We're gonna break this up in clips. Take a listen to this first part of the clip, and then we'll ask your feedback.
Hello. This is Jermaine Wallace, just sharing some insight on behalf of myself and my husband, Jermaine Wallace, on couples finances. So this is a really interesting topic because there are so many situations that I have seen when it comes to couples finances and how it's structured. But we definitely have our thoughts on basically what we think works best. But firstly, when it comes to couples finances, the first and most important thought process that I have to say is that it's really, really, really important that a couple is a husband and a wife is on the same page when it comes to their finances. And when I say the same page, that means that there has to be communication with their finances. And in regards to communication, what I strongly recommend is that when it comes to their finances, they sit down and discuss their goals, about what they anticipate for the future in regards to where they want to be. And not only their goals, but taking a look at where they are now and how they're going to get to their goals. And I also strongly recommend budgeting because we know that finances can be a source of difficulties in a lot of marriages. And when one individual in a marriage has different spending habits versus the other, like for example, one person's a spender, the other's a saver, it can cause issues. So budgeting and tracking spending can really alleviate a lot of those issues.
Okay, guys, what do you guys say about that? Can you comment on that in our Facebook viewers? I think we may have answered this. She was saying, what if she, let me get back to that. In the live chat, an account that I just need to have, and my husband knows about it. So I think we answered that, right? That if it's something that's discussed and they decide on it, you know, and that works for them. I think we did answer that. That helped. So what do you guys have to say about what Pastor Tootie shared?
I think it was good. I mean, I think it's kind of along the lines of what, you know, we all are kind of coming to an agreement with.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I definitely noticed about John and I was what helped us come into agreement as far as finances is I realized that as I was a single mother prior to getting married to John. And so I always had to, you know, I had a son and I had to make everything happen. I was the only person that had all the answers or had to have all the answers. And so John didn't have children prior to us getting married. So he didn't have to consider anyone else in his decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we have to also consider that factor of blended families, of, you know, where one person had to manage a household and one person didn't have to manage a household, in a sense of having people to support. And so for us, after all those years of, you know, it's almost like being a single mother. I wanted to do little things for myself so I didn't feel poor. And John saved money because he didn't want to be poor.
Yeah.
So you got me who's saying I feel good when I do things for myself because it gives me a level of normalcy in my struggle or in you know, my financial restrictions. And John is like, I refuse to be completely broke, so I'm not gonna spend. And I think when we figured out that about each other, I became more sensitive to his needs to save and to build our finances, and he became more sensitive to my need to do things for myself, because John will literally not do anything for himself, and I have to trap him into spending for himself. And so I had to we just in the store, we get in the car, we're gonna go for a ride. And next thing you know, we pull up to a store. He's like, why are we here? Because you're buying socks, sir. You know what I mean? Like I had to trick him into doing for himself. So I think we learned that balance of, what is your financial history? What is your upbringing around finances? What did your parents teach you? What did you experience? Did you experience poverty? Did you experience parents who you had to do nothing? They spoiled you? Because I think all of that plays into our perspective of what money means and how to use it. And so John and I have literally just decided, hey, we're going to change the narrative. We weren't financially educated growing up, either one of us. And so we decided we're going to choose to learn, to glean from others, and we're going to teach our children how to be financially knowledgeable. And so, financial literacy. So I just, that when she said, what are the goals, future planning, budgeting, I think we got to just take all into consideration where a person was born, how they were born, you know, how they were raised, what was their financial experience. You know what I mean? What value did money hold in their upbringing? Some people, money meant you were important, or the lack of, you were nothing. you know what I mean? So you got to factor all that in. It's like, it kind of weighs its part. But yeah, we hit our stride. I want to say last year was like groundbreaking for us in the midst of COVID. It was groundbreaking for us and eye-opening that we're going to change the way we do things here. And yeah, so that was my takeaway from hearing her talk about goals and budgeting and things like that.
That's awesome. And I think it's so important for us to realize, as you said, we're coming from different backgrounds, different experiences, different ideologies, different thoughts about money and financial literacy. And that's why that conversation is important. There are couples that don't have any goals. I wasn't really one that really was not that I wasn't concerned about it. The basics I had down: life insurance, health insurance, savings. I had the basics down, and I was that single mother as well, and didn't have to give accountability to anybody. What are my kids gonna ask me? They can't dare ask me anything. I can give all my money away and go without, and I'll be fine. We'll figure it out. And it's not that it's not a good thing to give, but now when you have somebody else in the midst, and you still want to live how you live, they still want to live how they live, but then the Bible says, then the two becomes one, and communication is necessary, and submission. Babe, Tag, you're in. You want us to switch places?
Yeah, let's switch
Okay, we're gonna switch places. Okay, so he can say something, and then we'll listen to another clip, and we'll try our best to wrap up and get to any questions that's coming in. All right, we've never done this before. This is usually very polished, but it is what it is today, right? And all of us have kids and all of that, so we're doing this. Thank God I decided to wear pants today.
All right. It's my tongue now, huh? Okay, great. I want to quickly share my thought on it, or rather, my own feelings. I love the separate account. I love it because just as our sister Juanita just said, the background I came from, the part of the world I came from is the part of the world whereby there are certain expectations of you, most especially when you live abroad. I'm from Africa. Most especially when you live abroad, there are some certain expectations. So we do things for people back home, or we do things back home, not because we enjoy doing it, just to escape the criticism. Because if you do not do certain things, they'll start comparing you with certain people. That is why when you go back there, you see people that works in car wash. I'm not saying car wash is not a good job. Don't get me wrong. You see people that are barely getting along. They save the little money they have. When they get back home, they start throwing money on the street. So you not knowing, you will think that it is just that easy for them. They are throwing those money with tears because this is an expectation that they expect them to demonstrate. So for that reason, I love separate account. I love it. Because why? It gives me the opportunity to pull some heat back home. When some people ask for money or want to do something, when I hear that maybe my brother has done this or somebody I know has done this, I want to do. It's like a competition. So I love that separate account. But I found out that even as much as I love it, it is a setup. It is a setup for broken relationship. Because one thing I have grown to understand is the devil is smarter than us. We cannot outsmart him without the Holy Ghost. It is just the Holy Ghost that helps us. See, he has been around for a long time. He has been around from the beginning. So he knows the look and cranny of this earth more than we do. He knows the tricks. That is why you see he often pull his tricks on God's people. So that is why when Jesus left the scene, he left us with the Holy Ghost, because he knew that without the Holy Ghost, there is no way we can outsmart him. Because the Bible told us, he said he's trickish. He's trickish. He's a liar. He is full of deception. Even Jesus said he has been so from the beginning. So I found out that having that pattern of life, having separate account from which is like secrets, because I want to do these things, because there are some things I want to do. There are some things I want to do, but my significant other, my wife, may not agree to it. She may see it as unnecessary spending, but I am seeing it as a prestige. So we have different view about it. So when we came together, the first time she told me about joint account, I was like, huh? What do you mean by that? So I don't understand, because before she met me, before we got married, she knew I always have a secret money in my wallet. And the reason I always have that secret money is just in case anything happens. I will have money to at least keep me for a night or two. You see, with that mentality, I was setting myself up. The devil fed me with that deception, and I buy it because I thought that, oh, okay, it is good. Sometimes you just keep something aside. And also I found out that when you have this secret account, it opens the channel for you to start telling lies. It opens the channels for you to start being dishonest. The devil will tell you it's just a little lie. It doesn't matter. I mean, it won't hurt. Just say, he won't even call it a lie. And also, it really brought me to a place whereby I thought that I could be independent on my own without her. I felt, okay, fine, it's okay, no problem. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Sometimes when I tell her this is what I think we need to do, and she said, no, we don't. I don't think we need to. I said, okay, don't worry. I know how to fix it. The reason I'm saying I know how to fix it is because there is something somewhere that she is not aware of. And I found out that it also costs a lot of things that if I start naming them, it will take a lot of time. But the bottom line is, it sets you up for destruction. It will destroy your relationship. It will destroy your trust. It will destroy your fellowship with your significant other. So, but along the line, I later found out in the Word of God, in Genesis 2, when the Bible says, for this cause a man shall leave his father, and shall be joined to his wife, and the both of them shall become one flesh. So I began to search for what cause. For what cause? Why? For what cause? And as I began to do my studies, I found out that for the cause that the woman was taken out of the man. And God placed a decree that the both of them should become one flesh. And one flesh means the both of them. That is why you see when they come together in marriage, the woman takes over the man's last name, right? It doesn't stop there. One flesh in finance, one flesh in decision, one flesh in thought, one flesh in agreement. Have you stopped to think about, because I was telling my wife, I said, have you stopped to think about what God meant by one flesh? I had to succumb to it. Why? Because I found out that God is wiser than me. God is wiser than me. So if God is saying the both of you shall become one flesh, it means he has a reason for that. And I went further and I found out that the Apostle Paul said, men, be careful. Be careful not to offend your wife so that your prayer will not be hindered.
Woo!
I was like, what connection does my prayer have to do with my wife? You understand? And I remembered the both of them shall become one flesh.
One flesh.
You know? And also, I found out that when the Apostle Paul said, men, love your wife just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. What connection does that have to do with me? I found out that it is one flesh. God wasn't necessarily saying I should die for my wife because Jesus Christ has already died for her. My death will make no effect. Give just as Christ gave himself for the church, it means sometimes I should give up my decision.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I should give up the thing, the desire I want, the thing I want to do at that moment. Sometimes I should just let it go. Because why? The Bible also told the woman to be submissive. So it won't be fair if the woman is submissive and the man is not ready to give up his ego. There will be a problem. So when I sum all of that together, I decided that I think God is trying to point something at me. And we started having the joint account. And you know what happened? I found out that since we had the joint account, since we start putting our finances together, our both paycheck goes to the same account. We do things from the same account. No matter what she wants to get, I just have to sometimes. She can attest to that. I have tried my best never to tell her no. The reason is because I found out that she is being submissive.
Mm-hmm.
So because she is being submissive, she deserves that I just as the Apostle Paul said, she deserves that I need sometimes to give up my desire for her. Sometimes we will have something we want to do with money, and sometimes she will say, she's always quick to say, okay, you know what, just take care of your own. I said, no, take care of yours. You know, so because to us, and it has helped us, because to us, we do not have your money and my money.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have it. Because when there was a time we tried this stipend thing, it did not work. The reason it did not work is because sometimes her own stipends, we end up still using it for the family. Sometimes my own, we end up using it for the family. So we made a decision. We made a decision, and it has helped us because we are now accountable to each other. Just as you guys said before, we look before we leap. You know, we look before we leap. We do not just do things with our finance because we want to do them. We always come together in agreement. Why? Because the two shall become one flesh.
One.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Tag me in. Okay. All right. That was good. Yeah. It really helped me to be the word more submissive, because like I said, coming from doing my own thing, running my own show, it really helped me, us always doing everything together, and we kind of know everything. That's our situation. It works for us. It may be a little different for you. I have a question for the Machettes, Tony and Jaleesa, because you guys are a young couple, recently married. You got a house right away. You seem to have done things so organized and frugal, and I know at one point maybe one person wasn't working, but it didn't really seem to be like such a financial struggle that even break a lot of young couples. Did you start pulling your money together before you got married, or how, like, what was that conversation like? Why did it seem like you guys just were so financially organized and planned, and how did that happen?
So we started pooling our money for the wedding. So we weren't necessarily pooling all of our income before we got married, but we did realize that if we wanted to get married by the timeline I had set, that we needed to work together to make that happen. And so we pulled together for that goal. So we had a set amount of money that we have to save this amount of money every week in order to have the amount of money that we need to pay off this wedding before the wedding night. And so that's where the pooling really came from. And then afterwards, like he said, when we initially got married, so, the wedding is gone, that money's gone, we paid for what we needed to pay for. We were trying the percentage thing and we realized that it wasn't working. And, that's when we spoke to the pastor friend of ours. And that's when we also realized, hey, like, we did such a great job getting the money together for the wedding that, we should do this going forward. And then as far as the house, that didn't come from pooling, because like you said, we just got married. We spent pretty much all the money that we had saved on the wedding. The money for the house actually came from funds that I had been fortunate to save up in the past, because I think that also something that people forget to touch on is that one of you might be coming into the marriage with debt, or one of you might be coming into the marriage with, funds that can be used to now further the family. So what we had to realize is that, yes, I have these funds from, like 401ks and blah, 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 that I had put aside, but am I going to just let that sit there and be for some rainy day? Or am I going to use that to now contribute to this family that we are building together? And so I really had to decide, what is going to work for my family? This family that we're creating is more important than holding on to what I had prior. You know what I'm saying? And so even like, we spoke about it briefly, even things like student loans or like debt that we might have had before. We made a really conscious effort before we got married that we were going to get rid of whatever debt we could, and what we couldn't, we would make a commitment to pay it off together. So like, you might have more student loans than me, but you know what? We're a family now. And so we're attacking this thing together. And that's how we were able to do it.
That is so awesome. That is, yeah, we applaud you on that. And look, it yielded results. Instead of one person struggling to try to take care of their own student loan and this person doing that. And when Josh met me, I had already been out of school almost 20 years and had out of college and had all of these, still had, those nursing loans will get you guys, still had this big nursing loan, right? And car payment. And he inherited that.
Yeah.
The fact that he inherited that. The Michettes talked about some may be coming in with money and some may be coming in with debt. Those are things you want to talk about, because now that becomes your debt, right? Because with that by yourself, you're going to, figure that out by yourself. That can cause problems as well. Or I have this inheritance. You didn't have to say I have this money and we're going to now pull it together and do something as a family. You could have still been like, well, this is mine, but when we come together, mine is now ours, right? Because as Josh said, the devil uses all these little things to try to, to get in there and to tear marriages apart and to bring in suspicion and lack of trust and, all those different issues. So I think that was awesome. And it sounds like the more we communicate, the more we plan, the more we set goals as couples, the more successful we will be, right? John or Tony, you have anything else to say? And then I want to, after that, get into what Pastor Sam said. I know people are commenting in the YouTube chat, but our son just took the phone, so we'll respond after, right? I just want to give the gentleman an opportunity before we move on. And wow. So,
Sure.
Don, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think everything that was said today was excellent. I think it really comes down to, figuring out each other's personalities, seeking wise counsel like you guys did, and got the pool, and then that's a strategy, and that works, for you guys. And I think it's about seeking wise counsel, becoming financially literate, and working together and communicating to see what works for you. Because what may work for one couple may not work for the other, because they have different personality types, different spending habits, different things. So, you gotta find your flow. Like, it took us a little while to find our flow, but then as we did this and God began to open up, businesses for us and everything, it kind of flowed together in that way. So now, us working together as a tandem in business, all the money is our money, and that's how we look at it. And so, just it worked well with the flow for our house, and so, but I think everybody, if you need that separate account, like you said, you guys have access to each other's accounts, but you're not worried about, okay, they take their little part, you take their little part, but the pool is fed and everything is taken care of. And you can do, you can buy that gift that they don't know about now, and this and that. Like, that was one of the things we were like, oh man, if you do the joint, you can't really do that. But I kind of, she still sneaks them in. She'll do whatever she does.
I'm tired of Amazon sending him text alerts when the packages are in.
I get it all. I get it all. I know. I try not to look though.
If I spend a nickel, he gets a ding. So.
I need to go in there and change it, because I'm tired of him saying, babe, your package is ready. I'm like, I have it sent to the locker. Babe, your package showed up at the locker. I'm like,
but it still works for us, is what I'm saying. So, like, I think through wise counsel and just learning each other's spending habits and discussing those things and communicating, and even while it's going, you may have to switch up your strategy, but you'll eventually get to a point where you find what works for each other. And I think if that communication is there, you guys, everybody will eventually get to a point where it's working.
Absolutely. Thank you for again.
I agree.
Tony.
Yeah, no, I was saying I agree wholeheartedly with John, because for one, we had to learn each other's spending habits as well. Like, for she was mentioning, I'm like John. I'm the one that's like, I'm the hoarder, right? It's like, if it for me, it's almost like, I like to say, I think more future and she thinks more present, right? So we had to come to that understanding where she was like, well, we have the money now, but I'm like, yeah, but we also have things coming up future, right? So it's like, we kind of had to, it was that balance had to come into play, where it was like, okay, like Josh said, there were times where I had to just let go and just say, all right, we'll figure it out, just, and like even John said, let's maybe wait until next week when we're in a better place, right? So it's like, you kind of had to figure out those habits. And also, one of the big things that really helped us was, from the counsel that we got, is figuring out who was better at dealing with the finances, right? So it was like, yeah. So, in my case, it was me, right? So, because the thing is, having that person that deals with the finances, you kind of set that accountability kind of, thing, and it just makes everything work a lot better, because if we all know, if the spender is dealing with the money, it may not
We're gonna have all the things.
We're gonna have all the things, but then the bills are gonna be, So it comes down to that communication and just understanding. Okay, I'm better at this, so I'll deal with it. I'm better at this, so you'll deal with it. So it's just getting that communication together, figuring out each other's habits, personality traits, all of those things, and just communicating and figuring out who's responsible for what. And the earlier you can do that, makes it so much easier throughout the marriage. So we're a young couple. We're still learning, but I think we have a good handle on it so far.
You definitely seem to, and that's great. Again, submission, trust, communication, setting goals, budgeting. Hi, Judah. And also being flexible, I think, with budgeting. I used to have an issue with that because sometimes if the budget had to shift a little bit, he would just go crazy. And again, in the Burgesses' home, John, it seems like John is better at managing the finances. For us, it's kind of the both of us. Like I do the weekly, the writing out the budget, this and that has to be done. But he eyeballs it and we talk about it. He kind of thinks more on a bigger picture. Like I said, we came into the marriage. I had the school loans, the cars, and this and that, and he was like, no. And we put a plan together to get rid of the school loan, to get rid of the car payments. So it's kind of a joint effort. But he's a bigger picture guy, and I can manage the smaller day-to-day activities. One more, Pastor Sam and his wife said they have 3 accounts. Both of their names are on all of the accounts, but Sister Kadisha said that he only has access. No, he doesn't have access to one of the accounts. So it is his account as well. But she doesn't allow him like free access to that account. She manages it, for whatever reason. Maybe she doesn't want him to. Maybe she's the financial person in the family, So, but they all know and they agreed on it. All of their names are on it, but she manages that account and she doesn't let him freely have that account to do what he wants to do with it, and they have their reasons for that. So thanks for everyone that put their input in. There's so much more to be said. There's so many other comments that came in, but we are already over our 1 hour mark, and so we don't want to keep you too much longer. Tudian, we thank you, Tudian and Jermaine. Sorry, she was speaking. The Wallaces. We'll get to more of what you said on another show, on a future show. We hope that this did help somebody. It's two becoming one, and it may look uniquely different to you. The important thing is to talk about it. A lot of communication, budgeting, and set your goals and be open about everything. No secret accounts, guys. That it will set you up for disaster. I just want to take a few minutes just to thank our lovely guests for coming on and just have them tell us a little bit about what each of them are doing and ways that we can get involved and how they can help us as well. And I'm going to start off with the Muchettes. I'm going to start off with Tony and Envision Consultant. If you can tell us a little bit about that, your services, and how you can be reached.
So I run a full service digital marketing agency. Basically what that means is I essentially can help you create a full digital marketing strategy to build your business, from website, social media, building your brand, anything like that, client acquisition, and stuff like that. We also help you to create a marketing plan. That's usually how we help our small, medium-sized business, because we found out that a lot of companies, they know where they want to go, but they don't know how to get there. So that's one of the big things that we work on. You can get in contact with me by just going to my website, envisionwc.com, and there's a contact form, a chat box, either way, and it's direct access to me.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. And we're going to turn it over to the Burgesses. I don't know where they want to start with all, with all their different. Well, start with Big Adventure.
Yes, so we have launched our and it's so interesting, very similar description as the Mouchettes. We have our business consulting company, Burgess Innovative Group, also known as BIG, which is we use the acronym of our business name. And so our number one goal is we work with small businesses. We work with small businesses to help them brand. And so a lot of what we do is help people understand their brand identity, understand all of the components of that. We also do consulting on 3 different levels. So some people just need, a little sounding board for their business ideas, whether they're already in business, whether they're trying to rebrand, whether they're trying to explore other things to put on top of their business, maybe a new addition to their business. We help with strategies in that regard. We also help with creative ideas. So some people have their own business already, but they're looking how to make their business more creative, how to increase customer engagement, how to make their social media presence better. And so we also offer social media management. And we do manage accounts for our clients, their posting schedules, making sure they understand how to do hashtagging and all of those beautiful things. In addition to that, we will be launching this spring our Big Academy. And so we will be having online courses for business owners and entrepreneurs, helping them understand what it means to be in business and how to market and how to brand themselves strategically. And so, yeah, we have all those wonderful things going on with Big, and we just launched in January, and we're excited about it. We love it. We love working with our clients. We love helping people creatively brainstorm. We love helping people build their brands. So that's Big. And then we also have John's wonderful 24-hour Christian radio station. So I'll turn it over to him.
Yes, I have a 24-hour Christian radio station called BAP Radio. It's internet radio, but I have people going through the app. We have a BAP Radio app. At the you can download the app on Google Play, the Google Play Store, or the Apple Store, App Store. And wasn't expecting to talk about that, but I'm more focused on Big right now. Just kind of behind the scenes, making sure everything's operating smoothly and dealing with a lot of the marketing. But yes, BAP Radio, check that out. Free app, ad-free 24-hour Christian radio. We play Christian hip hop and R&P. That's rhythm and praise for those who may not have heard of the term. But it's more of an urban feel. We do some worship. Saturdays, we have a reggae segment. On Sundays mornings, we do worship. But other than that, it's primarily Christian hip hop and R&P. And we have a few DJs from around the country that spin even over in the UK. And so you guys can check that out. BAP Radio, get the app. And I'm a music producer and an artist, but I'm not getting into all of that.
It's big stuff. Well, we thank you all for joining you to our viewing audience. Don't forget to share, like, rewatch, and don't forget to check out our website and all the other ways that you can contact us. Thank you all so much for being a part of this, and I hope this really did help someone, y'all. If y'all look joint, that's our opinion, I think it will help. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening and the rest of your week. Love you. Bye-bye.
Come and take a journey. Come and take a step. Come and take a journey. Journey to the cross and beyond.
You'll find inspiration, get some motivation, reach your destination.